All right, good afternoon, welcome to The States, the midweek edition of your news and current affairs show. This day coming to you live on YV television on channel 33 and on the radio on 101.6 FM with me, David Wilson. This year, as usual, it's your news and current affairs show that brings news to your doorstep. You can also be part of the show later on by calling on to the number 025-271-959, 025-271-959 when the phone line opens. Well, today in this edition of This Day, we shall be looking at the Commission of Inquiry, as today is day 4 of the hearing of the Commission of Inquiry. We shall be looking at what has been happening so far and the expectations of civil society and CL unions on the Commission of Inquiry. For that, I have with me in the studio Thomas Conteh, Acting Executive Director, Citizens Advocacy Network, CAN. Good afternoon, welcome to the show, Thomas.
Good afternoon, thank you for having me here.
And also William Sawolami, National Coordinator of Civil Society on Civil Society Consortium on Service Delivery. Good afternoon, welcome to the show, William Sawolami.
Good afternoon and thanks for having me.
All right, and we've seen the process so far on the Commission of Inquiry since the pronouncement was made by the President. We seen the launch of the Commission of Inquiry, and the process started, and we have gone through close to day 4 of the hearing of the Commission of Inquiry. So I start off with you, William Sawolami. What's your take so far on the entire process of the Commission of Inquiry?
I think as a consortium and as a human rights activist and a Sierra Leonean, I think I believe that things are going on well with the process. And I think Sierra Leoneans are actually pleased, because a few days ago I was in Bo Kenima and Makini, trying to get the views of people, just to maybe verify what the IGR actually came out with, that 81% of Sierra Leoneans are actually in support of the setting up of the Commission of Inquiry. So I will tell you for free, across the country, people are highly interested. And we must understand that the setting of the Commission of Inquiry is not just about maybe the previous government. It's like putting people on their toes, not only those who are politicians, but even us as civil society, as NGOs. Each and every Sierra Leonean must be on your toe at this particular time to ensure that whatever money you receive, whether be it government, money from government, from donor partners, these are all public funds. So talking again about the setting up of the commission, I think it's going on fine. Some judges, in fact, create some environment for people to actually, get some smiles, some laugh, make some jokes and all the rest of it. People think it will have been so tense, but we are not seeing that kind of situation.
I think on that, I must comment Justice B.O.B.
Of course.
The commission seems to be, makes things very flexible for witnesses and also those who are actually present at the court, court number, the commission on room 1.
Of course, a lot of people are actually making comment on that particular judge, that he's a mixer. He's actually making the whole thing flexible for people, and people are actually understanding what is going on. Before the kickstart of the inquiry, a few days before that, we'll be hiring of people will be demonstrating, people will be doing X, Y, Z, people will get to the streets in the name of lawlessness and indiscipline. But we are not seeing all of these things, And I think for now, for the 4 days period, I think we are pleased with what we are seeing, and the doors are open. In fact, before I heard that you must be given a pass before you get into the courts. But a senior government official told me that if you enter into the court earlier, definitely you are going to sit there.
And probably it should be limited people.
That is it. You need to be there, first thing in the morning, so you are safe. Even if you have a pass, whatever document you have, if you get there very late when the court, the accommodation is actually, filled, there is no way you can stand in the court. So it's like if you're highly interested, you go there first in the morning, then you will be there. You make yourself very comfortable. You want to go, you can leave at any time you want to go. So I'm not seeing any kind of situation whereby people can say, no, the court is so tense and the judges are really not accommodating, people to actually air their views and all the rest of it. We see judges actually giving chance to lawyers to actually express themselves, to say whatever they want to say. Sometimes they even adjourn, that you come the other day, so whatever information you have, you can bring the information so that we can proceed. So for me, for now, I think I'm okay, and the process is actually going on smoothly.
Well, I think the good thing is that the justice, the made things clearly that court or that room, the commission's room is not a court wherein they should sentence people. It's just to ask you your stewardship, and after that they will report and they make the recommendations. I don't think people should fear.
David, even when we go to church and mosques, we believe that someday we are going to face judgment. Whatever you do here on earth, you know, if you kill somebody here on earth, so many other crimes, like for us Christians, we have the 10 commandments, that you should not do this, you should not do that. If you do any one of them, at the end of the day, when you die, you go and face judgment, you know. For us here as a country, we have our constitution, we have our mandate. People have to understand that when they are in position, they are serving us, from the president right down to the least official, government official. These are public servants. They are serving us. They are using our taxpayers' money. When I suffer, when I work on my farm product, I'm a Molanki rider or whatever, I have to pay tax. When I pay tax, all of this money is now put together. You pay the military, the police officers, and all the rest of it. So these are people who are serving us. That is why some sector of government officials, they do call them public servants, you know, civil servants. They are serving us. So when you serve people, at the end of the day, you receive 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 billion you're spending within a period of time when you are serving as a public official. The people, in fact, for me, this commission is not SLPP commission. It's not the government commission. It is the people's commission. Because the people have been crying that we are seeing so much corruption around. Corruption did not start within this past 10 years of the past previous government. Corruption has been there for decades of years. You understand? And you can never end corruption. You just minimize corruption. The level where we are going, you know, the previous years, it's like the hope of Sierra Leone was also, was about to finish. So we are saying it is enough. Let us minimize corruption. We cannot get corruption totally out of Australia, but let us minimize corruption. So this commission of inquiry, to me, I refer to is the People's Commission of Inquiry. It's like just giving your stewardship. Did you receive 10 million euro? Yes. How did you spend it? Do you have the document? Yes. We are receiving a document that you only spent 5 million and the other 5 million was not spent. Is it true or false? You say, yes, it's true. If it is false, you say, yes, it's false. You bring your document, your evidence. It's so simple. It's not like when you get there, they are going to sentence you or not. It's an inquiry. At the end of the day, all of these documents, all of this information will now be collated and then passed on to the government. And then the government will look at it. I'm sure before the government take whatever decision, they must have some consultation with legally minded people as to what will be the final decision. Because it's a peaceful nation, and I believe this commission is going to be there, and they will do their job, and then this commission will over, and they will continue to live again as Sierra Leoneans. But I just believe that by the end of this commission of inquiry, people will start to recognize the work of the ACC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, because the ACC alone cannot fight corruption in Sierra Leone. That woman who is selling pepper in that market, the Omolenko rider, even at home, all of us has to join hands together to complement the effort of the Anti-Corruption Commission. If we have been supporting the ACC, if people have been interested in supporting the ACC, if previous governments have been giving political will to the ACC, today we should not be talking about corruption. We should not be talking about commission of inquiry. Right. So I believe that this time around, Sierra Leoneans must accept to be very close to the ACC, know what the ACC is doing, support the ACC. So at the end of the day, we'll not be talking about commission of inquiry after 10 or more years.
Sure, but let me go to it much more. And I think the issue back then was people questioning the credibility of the judges and also whether the process will be free and fair. And so far we have seen the fall of the process so far. And during all of this process, we have seen huge cash been coming out as well, and witnesses have started giving witness, and all of these things, and the process is still going. As a civil society, what's your take so far? Because I'm sure you have been following the process since day one.
Yeah, thank you very much. Reasonably, it would be premature to assess the commissions of inquiry because they started work in less than a week ago. So it will be very premature to assess their level of fairness or whatever you. But for the purpose of this program, I would say citizens advocates have been following the program, the commissions of inquiry keenly. And let me establish it that, as we have always been doing, that we are in full support of the commissions of inquiry. Like any other well-meaning Sierra Leonean, we believe that people who have occupied positions of trust should be accountable for their stewardship, because that is what will actually provide a platform for people who are currently occupying offices to be mindful of the fact that they occupy offices on the trust of the people of this country and not on their own personal self, on their own personal behalves. And when once that is established, I believe that we will have corruption and issues of improprieties being mitigated within the body politic of our country. We are in full support of that. We are in full support of the process. And we believe that a commission of inquiry like this will set the tone for democratic accountability. Though this is not the first commission of inquiry we have had in this country, we have had commissions of inquiries. But this one is somehow different because it has a very broad scope. We have had commissions of inquiries on specific areas. Like, for instance, when there was some kind of squabble in Conteh, there was a commission of inquiry, which was the Shiasmo's commission of inquiry, which was specifically instituted to look into what happened in that particular locality. And we have had a series of commissions of inquiries that were actually clearly looking into specific areas. But this one is so broad. And when I went there today, unfortunately, I have not been able to go to the commissions of inquiry for the past days because of protocols. We have been going there with my colleague, Marcus Bangura, Executive Director of the Democracy Sierra Leone, but we have not been able to have access to the courtroom, to the commission where the proceedings take place. But today we were able to get in there and we followed the procedures.
Because you went there late, or?
Well, initially they were so keen on having pass. They were so keen on having accreditation, what have you. But again, one will want to ask the question, how are these accreditations being provided to people? What are the basis? What is the criteria for accreditations to be given to people? Because some of us have been very keen on this commission of inquiry, and we have been raising our voices, and people want to hear from some of us what we really think about the commission of inquiry. And when we go there, we have people at the gates denying us entrance. It sends a very bad picture. I want to use this opportunity to beseech them. This is a process that should be very open to all and sundry. It should be a process that nobody should feel disadvantaged.
But I think the rooms are very small, so I'm sure by the time you guys went there, then it's well full.
Before,
so how
we have been going there around 8 o'clock in the morning to 9. But we are very keen on this commission of inquiry, pass or what have you, or accreditation. It was only yesterday when I saw Justice Biobel make a pronouncement that people should be allowed to come in, irrespective of the fact that they don't have their passes or what have you. They should be searched thoroughly and then allow them to go in. But now let's go to the merits of the commissions of inquiry. It is very important, I must say. And following the process so far, I must say that we have enough reason to believe that the commission of inquiry is important, because we have started realizing some facts coming out, and the proceedings are very interesting, I must say. And Sierra Leoneans will want to know how people who occupied offices in the past 10 years actually carried out themselves and how resources were allocated. But we should also be mindful of the fact that, I want to send this out to the public, that people who have been called to the commission of inquiry are not guilty until the end of the process. And that is why the Justice Biobel made it very clear today in the commission of inquiry that people should be mindful of their utterances or what they present to the public. People of interest are not guilty until the commission completes its findings and recommendations are made. a lot of names came up today. Today, what was actually in that commission had to do with submission of evidence by the state council to the commission, and which was of course admitted by the commissioner. And one evidence had to do with people who were in the past dispensation, or people who are considered politically exposed persons, who took loans from the Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, and who have not been able to pay those loans according to the bank. There was a representative from the bank, and the names of these people were of course read, and the amount of monies that each of them actually took from the bank was actually made public, and the total of it was around something.
It was
9 point something billion.
It's 9 billion.
Which is very close to $1 million.
572,199,719.51 cents.
So yes. So now that has been presented before the justice, before the commission, in full view of the public, and now these people will have now the opportunity to come and then present their own case. Whether maybe some of them had already paid these monies, or maybe it's just a mistaken identity, what have you. These are all things they will have to look into. And that is why it is very important, because to have such a huge sum of money in debt is very serious, because this is the Bank of Sierra Leone, for God's sake. And these monies are monies that we really need to propel the overall agenda of the country, of the government and development strides. So we need to look into some of these issues. But one key issue that we must not lose sight of, which still remains unattended to, is the rules governing the commissions of inquiry. In almost all of the commissions.
It's very key, and I'm sure, and we'll come and discuss that as well. But I think I'll come back to you. Well, let me bring in Saolami, because we're going to discuss that rules you're talking about, because tomorrow it's the day that the argument between the Defense Council and the State Council will go into to look into the rules of evidence as well. So, and so some key issue which was raised, towards the Commission of Inquiries about security, protecting witnesses that will be coming to give witness, along the Commission of Inquiry is very important. Now that the judge, have assured those who will be coming to give witness at the end, they're well protected. It sounds something very good, that everybody, you have the right to go there and also, despite witness the process, but also when you've been called upon to be witness, you're well protected.
Yeah, I think that one also is very key for this inquiry. I think protection is one other serious and important area the commission should actually look into. Otherwise, people will be afraid to get to the courts to testify, to provide evidence and all the rest of it. So as I was watching the process this afternoon, an hour ago, the judge was actually emphasizing that he is not in support of exposing witnesses, more especially before they get to the court. You can't give an information to somebody that he has to provide, the evidence maybe within a week period, and that person's names and address and all the rest of it is, in public domain.
Sure, I think that's
the security is very key,
yeah.
And I will tell you for free, that will hinder, that will, that will not allow people, definitely. It will be a challenge. It will be a barrier for people not to get to the courts. And if evidence is people that have evidences, to go to the court, if they are not there, then the process is not going to be proper. So I think the statement by the judge was very, very, relevant to ensure that they don't disclose the addresses and names of evidence, because we know the environment we live. We know this particular inquiry is going to cause, well, I don't want to really, as the judge said, we have to wait. But definitely, somebody who is a breadwinner, there are people here in Sierra Leone, you have up to 50 or more people depend on them. Some in Freetown, some outside Freetown, over the years. So definitely, if that individual is called upon by the Commission of Inquiry, you must understand that so many family members are going to, struggle for another years. So with that individual, in fact, looking at all of his wealth at this particular time, when he or she is called upon by the Commission of Inquiry, he will look at himself and say, oh, this die or live. so they can do anything with whosoever that have facts, you know.
Yeah.
They have been working with people. They have been working with their drivers. They have been working with their messengers and all the rest of it, you know. And some of these guys, you look in offices, the messengers, the cleaners, the cooks, these people have tangible information when it comes to a commission of inquiry. I will tell you for free, these people appear with some certain document you yourself will not believe. So exposing them to, I mean, those are politicians, I think is a danger. So definitely I will buy the idea, I mean, by Justice Bill Bell for, I mean, not accepting people's identity to be disclosed before they get to the court.
Yeah, sure, that's
that
a
one
great
is very,
concern.
very key. Even with ACC, they have been calling people, they will say, just call us, give us the information, we'll ensure. That one was the underlying word. We will ensure that your identity will not be disclosed. Because if that one happens, definitely people will not get there. And if people don't get with evidences or information they have, I mean, for somebody who is supposed to face the court will not go anywhere. Because this is an open court, people are seeing what is happening. You can't just allege somebody that he or she stole 10 or 15 billion and just indict that person and then I did a court of verdict against that person. You have to prove that at all reasonable. You have to provide every evidence before ever that individual is indicted. So at the end of the day, if he's guilty, he knows he's actually guilty. So that is why we are saying from the consortium, the Civil Society Consortium on Community Accountability and Service Delivery, my organization, Accountability Now, we are saying this Commission of Inquiry must be free and fair. It must be open as we have started. If I want to commend the media, the SLBC, the AYV, the Star Television, you know, they are really doing well for us to see exactly what is happening. We only hope and pray that electricity will not touch the cable, because if you guys are providing all of these services and at the end of the day there is no light, we have limited people to see exactly what is happening. So please, electricity, Mr. Minister of Energy, please ensure that the light we are seeing now must be there, if possible, improve. And Freetown is not Sierra Leone. Please, journalists, you the media houses, AYV, I know you are doing very well. We have our people in McKinney, Bo, Kenema, they too want to benefit from the hearing.
And sure,
so please just keep it up. What you've been doing, just continue, please.
And those are videos as well online, www.ayvnews.com. More, let me come over to you. I think while we will be touching on the rules and as well, I think security as well is another concern. You know, saying that this and this will be coming tomorrow at the Commission of Inquiry. It's a security threat, which the judges have said going further or so, they will ensure they rectify some of this process to look into that as well.
Yeah, well, I was there today and the judge was trying to make the point that it is essential that witnesses be protected. That is, their names should not be indicated on the document that will be sent by councils, i.e. the state council. Let's say, for instance, state council is sending a document to a council representing a person of interest. You are not duty bound. In fact, he was trying to suggest that the names of people who will serve as witnesses should not be indicated.
Maybe just XXXX.
Just indicate XXX, because there is a likelihood that people may want to tamper with witnesses, or even their security may be at stake, especially at this period of time. But they are a very senior lawyer Williams, was Yada Williams, who was representing one of the persons of interest, actually objected.
It's Miata Kagbo,
yes, former Minister of Health, objected that particular proposition by the commissioner, and said that they will be constrained to actually go on with the proceedings without knowing who the witnesses will be, because it is very essential for a council preparing to cross-examine a witness to know who this witness will be, because you want to know who you are going to meet, and you want to actually prepare very well as to how you actually engage that person to have certain facts from the person. And he also established the fact that there has not been records of witnesses being abused or being threatened, their lives being threatened in this country. There has not been any evidence of that. That was, of course, a compelling argument he made to the judge, and the judge was somehow magnanimous enough to reconsider his position he made earlier, and said that given the fact that Mr. Williams, Jada Williams, has actually made such an eloquent submission, he asked the state council to make his own view of what Williams said. And at the end of the day, the judge resolved that they will allow the proceedings to go as it has always been going, with the names of witnesses, and then he will have to rule on it if need be in the future. A very essential thing to notice, I of course hold the view of that witnesses should be protected. Yeah. But in protecting the witnesses, I believe that people who are officers of the court have a sacred duty to exhibit a high sense of professional conduct by way of keeping some of these things discreet for their own consumption. That is the case which Jada Williams actually presented to the judge, which actually made some sense to him, that this information of the witnesses could be made known to us, the councils. Yeah. And now the councils should be actually warned not to make it public. Because the councils cannot actually go on with their job without knowing who they will actually meet and what they will actually present to that person. So that was, of course, a compelling argument. And out of the judge alluded to him and gave him some kind of nod. So that is what is this current situation in terms of the witnesses.
The witnesses as well, which is very key of security reason as well. The show is Day State, coming to you live on YV television on channel 33 and on the radio on 11.6 FM. We're discussing the ongoing Commission of Inquiry. I have with me in the studio William Sawolamin, the National Coordinator, Civil Society Consortium on the Service Delivery, and Thomas Conteh, Acting Executive Director, Citizens Advocacy Network CAN. And later on we shall be opening the phone line. The number is 025-271-959, 025-271-959 when the phone line opens. And also online on www.ayvnews.com, on our Facebook page AYVSL, and on channel 33 and on the radio on 11.6 FM. And I will still stay with you, Thomas, and then later come to William Sawolamin. Tomorrow, the proceeding at Commission Room number 1 will start with the hearing of the argument on the jurisdiction of the Commission of Inquiry between the Defense Counsel Adi Macaulay and State Counsel Robin Manso will argue the matter, which is very key, and then that outcome will determine the fate of the commission properly as well.
Yeah, well, that is the most important issue. It is the most topical issue currently, and that is something I actually expect us and the judges manning these commissions to actually treat with a high level of professionalism. They should be actually dispassionate in handling that issue. Because, to be honest with you, if you follow the proceedings, you will realize that even the judges are constrained to actually enforce certain rules, especially when people flout procedures. Initially, when Adi Macaulay, no, it's not Adi Macaulay, a lawyer representing Honorable Kemosisi went there and presented a case that he has not received documents from the State Council in relation to the matter. And the judge was very surprised that why have you not actually provided these documents to your council? But the council was very smart enough, I mean the council representing Kemosisi, to say, now I cannot hold him responsible on any law, on any rule, because we are not actually aware of rules governing this particular commission that are so certain that if, for instance, Mr. Remy fails to serve me a particular document, then I would say Mr. Remy has actually flouted Rule 35 of the Commissions of Inquiry Act, or what have you. But that is not, of course, in existence currently. We have a lot of insinuations. We look at the High Court rules, look at Cap 54, and a lot of other things. Now, the issue that Adi Macaulay raised, and the host of other lawyers who represented persons of interest have raised is that the commission should stay actioned. That is, the commission should pause its operations until the Supreme Court makes a ruling. Because there is, mark you, there is a matter before the Supreme Court from the Bar Association and some members of the past government. People who served in past government actually took a matter to court for interpretation, and that matter is still pending. So they were actually trying to canvass the court, the commission, to actually look into that matter and wait until the Supreme Court makes a ruling on it. Whilst the judges there were saying they cannot wait, a judge in one of the courtrooms said he cannot wait because Biobel is yet to make his verdict on it. Said he cannot wait on the ruling of the Supreme Court. If in the process of their work, the Supreme Court comes out with any ruling, then they will follow it. But in the interim, the commissions will have to go on. But it is very risky for a commission to go on without the rules of practice and procedure. Because when you say the rules of practice and procedure, read the practice and procedure. These are the rules that actually dictate what councils do, how they actually appear, how they actually serve the document to their colleagues, and how the proceedings should go on. And these rules are currently not in force. And these are rules that are supposed to be established by the Rules of Court Committee. And this Rules of Court Committee is headed by who? The Chief Justice, who is the head of the judiciary, and 2 representatives from the Bar Association, and other institutions have, I think it has 7 members that will constitute this Rules of Court Committee, provided for in Section 150. That is the committee that is charged with the responsibility of making rules for commissions of inquiry. So in the absence of these rules, most of the lawyers are very constrained. Even Pamomo Fofana made mention of it yesterday. He is representing one of the persons of interest. It's
I think
an official of the Ministry of Health also.
Yes,
Calais, something Calais.
I think
so. Yes. So he made mention of it that they are constrained in the absence of these rules. So going forward, this is an argument we have always presented as an organization, Citizens Advocacy Network, and a host of other colleagues, for us to have that kind of clarity, because one of the features of the law is that it has to be certain. People should be very, certainty is a feature of the law. So for lawyers and judges going into the Commission of Inquiry, there should be a high degree of certainty that if Mr. A refuses, for instance, to provide certain documents to his colleague lawyer on the other side, then this is the law, this is the procedure he has breached, and for which the commissioner will now have a duty to scold the council that has actually gone outside the procedures. So these procedures should actually be set out, and these procedures are very essential, they are very germane to actually infuse sanity in the whole process. We have shouted about this issue, we have argued about it, a lot of controversies have come up, different shades of opinions have come up on these issues, but we now see them, we see the reality whilst the commission is going on. And we want to beseech the Chief Justice. I must say that I must express our dissatisfaction over the snail pace at which the Supreme Court is actually treating these matters.
But I think it's very key. So, and
we must express dissatisfaction.
Sure, being that to tomorrow, we'll be seeing the outcome of
even before tomorrow, we expected the Chief Justice or the Supreme Court to have actually met and decide on this matter. This is a very important matter that touches the credibility of the commissions of inquiry,
which is very key.
It is very key. And let them come out, let them tell we say the rules they're supposed for day or not. Let we know now say this is matter. Then when judges then they go now, then get a very clear mind, and lawyers will have that. But they have not done anything on it. The matter is still hanging, and it's very disheartening.
So I'm sure that they're actually listening to the process, and by the end of it tomorrow, we'll see the outcome. The fate of all of this process. Saul, I mean, you want to touch into this?
Well, I don't want to say much about that because it actually has to do with people that has people who are legal minded.
Sure.
You know, the game play at a particular time. If few years ago when we talk about Ebola, the health workers were all over the place, you know, having bumper salaries, you know, allowances on even on AfriCell money, Airtel money, all over the place. Everybody was talking about health workers. Today we are talking about legal matters. But I believe that the next few months lawyers will be much more okay.
You can look back.
The lawyers will be much more okay.
I really wanted to prompt Thomas to move because the lawyers are making huge money for this commission.
This is their time. This is the time of lawyers. Because let me tell you for free, when you get in front of these judges, some of them have 35, 40 years experience. If you go in front of them without your lawyer, the moment they ask you one question, you will get panic and just you don't know exactly what to say, what to do.
Because I think
so definitely you must have a lawyer.
Yeah.
Out of all of those, people that have been called, you know, to appear to the Commission of Inquiry, I will tell you for free, almost each and every one of them are able men and women that can hire a lawyer. So lawyers. So definitely this time
it's a very key issue, guys. What we're about to take some calls, because I could recall that was Kausu or CKB or so. You know, when he
went without a lawyer.
You see the fear
the lawyers themselves.
Sure.
When they appear before the judges, you know, those lawyers that have been there for 3, 4, 5 years, when they appear before those judges with 40 years experience, when they hit you one, you get back straight. So definitely people will get there alone.
Any legal background and how it appears to look like for you facing the
you cannot expose yourself.
On the issue of these rules of evidence, lest I forget, our consortium, you know, we have a consortium which Citizens Advocacy is part of.
Sure.
Is undertaking a very strong consortium. Very strong one. Thank you for that. It's undertaking a research. We have been undertaking a research for the past 3 to 4 weeks on to actually have the views of Sierra Leoneans on these rules of evidence and what have you. Whether there is need for rules of evidence in this commission of inquiry or not, because these are things we really need to. That is our duty as citizens. As civil society activists, to undertake research programs, to actually bring out certain facts and help policymakers or government authorities to actually shape their policies. So the report will be out in the next 2 weeks or so, or very shortly. I'm not too sure whether we have to confirm. I just want to. We are privy to it because you have me here. So we are going to have that report out very soon, which will actually be reflective of the wishes and aspirations of people in relation to the rules of court committee evidence or whatever. That will be out very soon.
Sure, right. It's Thomas Conteh, Executive Director, Citizen Advocacy Network, and also William Saolami, National Coordinator, Civil Society Consortium on Service Delivery. The number is 025-271-959, 025-271-959 is this day. Hello. All right. So that's the way you can be part of the show today. It's 025-271-959, or you listen to us online on www.ayvnews.com, or watch us as well. And you have the opportunity to watch us on channel 33, AYV TV, and listen to us online on the radio 101.6 FM. Hello, caller. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes. Good afternoon, caller.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from McKinney. I'm very happy the way Thomas More is articulating issues. It's nice and fine that this area of people stop these people not to enter to the courts is not fair.
Well, I think we lost that. Well, I think we lost that. So you have the opportunity to be part of the show. Call to number 025-271-959, 025-271-959. Hello, caller. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, caller. All right, we lost that caller. Please move away from your TV or radio set. before calling or make your own contribution towards the show. The show is this day on YV Radio 11.6 FM.
Your call has
I think we've lost it quite anyway. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, caller.
Yes, I am Samuel Cole calling from Freetown.
Samuel Cole calling all the way from the country's capital city,
Yes,
Freetown.
my take is on the rules of evidence. Every game has the rules, right? Now, my question is, what happens to those who may tender in false evidence or false documents against persons of interest? In the court of law, whenever a person tendering false evidence or lied to the court, there is a penalty for that. What will happen for such people? That's my submission. Thank you very much.
I think so, you see. And that was a concern from Samuel Cole in the Freetown as well. So let's see, we can take more calls. The show is this day. We can take at least 4 more calls. Good afternoon, caller.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, AYV.
Yes, you're live on AYV TV
Hello?
and radio.
Hello.
Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hello. All right. Please move away from your TV or radio set before making your contribution towards the show. The show is this day on AYV TV and on the radio 11.6 FM. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. And hello, caller. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, I'm John calling from McKinney.
John calling all the way from McKinney. John, go ahead. Hello,
Yes,
John.
first I want to say thank you very much to my brother, Mr. Conteh. I think he's really articulating the issues that are of importance as far as this commission of inquiry is concerned. But my point I want to make here clear is the fact that when we talk of the commission of inquiry, we must be able to bring out the aspects of rules of evidence very clear. You know, we've got commission of inquiries in this county and other counties which have followed such a due process. And I think if we must be able to have an accountable, a transparent commission of inquiry, we must be able to follow this due process by providing the rule of evidence. I will tell you for free that for us as Sierra Leoneans, we want to fight corruption. We really want to hold people accountable for, you know, their deeds in terms of governance. But in ensuring that, we must follow the due process, which is by providing the rule of evidence. So for us, I want to say it should be able to provide it by the court. If we really want to see a credible commission of inquiry. Yeah, thank you very much, and I basically follow the process as it unfolds.
All right, thank you very much, and John, all the way from McKinney. And we'll take 3 more calls, and we'll come back to the studio and, you know, allow my guests, probably if they want to respond to some of these calls. Good afternoon, caller. Hello? Hello, caller, good afternoon.
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, calling from McKinney, Philip.
Philip from...
Of evidence.
Philip
guide
Paul-
the judges how to go about the proceedings and methods of the commission. I think they are there to protect the judges and guide them how they go about this commission of inquiry. But they are not there.
All right, Philip, thank you very much. The number is 025-271-959, 025-271-959. The show is this day. Hello, caller, good afternoon. Hello?
Yeah, Remy Wilkie is the same man that's calling from McKinney. I was running out of top up. Hello?
All right, go ahead.
Hello, Remy Wilkie.
Yes, go ahead, I'm getting you. Oh.
Yes, my brother. I said the rule of evidence must be presented to the court. And the other thing here is, let the judge stop stopping people not to enter the court unless passed is not fair. Let them allow the people to enter to the court. Let them hear the views of the lawyers and the judge. And this rule of evidence must be given out to the public and the judges out, so that everybody will free out his mind. This is a commission of the people, what Lamin is saying there. But I'm really happy the way Mr. Conteh is articulating the issue. It's making people to understand well. The commission is not reaching on people, but the way we see it now, it's like they are following the due process of the hunting people like the APC. I'm telling you, Remy Wilson. So please, let them provide the rule of evidence. It is very important, my brother. This is my concern.
All right, thank you very much. I think it's very key because, and both of you guys said, the report which came out by the Institute of Governance Reform (IGR), which reveals that nearly 90% of Sierra Leoneans know about the Commission of Inquiry set up by the government. Let's take the final lucky caller. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Good afternoon. Yeah, caller.
Hello.
Yes, caller.
Hello.
Caller. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello, caller.
Hello, Dijalo.
Jalo, go ahead.
The Commission of Inquiry is very important. The Commission of Inquiry is very. The Commission of Inquiry is very important. This is democratic accountability. Ministers, deputy ministers are being employed by we the people of Sierra Leone. That is why they call the civil servants. By the end of their term of office, they should give an account of their work to the people of Sierra Leone. If the Commission of Inquiry went to, people will know the importance of their commission. And deputy ministers will minimize corruption. I'm saying this because at the end of their term, they also will be influenced. So the Commission of Inquiry is very, very good for which Jalo. Thank you, Alibi Jalo Kuyo. For no.
Jalo is the final lucky caller. He said is democratic accountability. That's the way he call the Commission of Inquiry, which is very key and it's important. And like I was reading earlier, 82% believe the inquiry would fair, but 19% mostly for McKinney believe the inquiry could lead to violence. And that's the report from the Institute of Governance Reform (IGR). So we've seen, people very have the interest in McKinney. So the rest of the callers actually calling all the way from McKinney. I think it's good because everybody, wants the Commission of Inquiry and they want to know the outcome of the Commission of Inquiry, which is very key. So, guys, we're wrapping up now. What's your take towards, maybe you might want to respond to
yes, Cole, a particular caller named Cole, was asking whether if somebody gives false evidence in the commission, what would be the penalty. That is why people take oath on either the Bible or the Quran. When someone talk in Creole, let people understand. When somebody go at the Commission of Inquiry, you see that they give a Bible or Quran. If you're not a Christian, they give Bible. If you're not a Muslim, they give the Quran. What's swear now?
It's just funny to say, quote unquote. I go with my friend, and he say, look, it's just fun anyway. I say, why people are always excited for swear. You take an oath now, the Bible and Quran. I say because normally if you swear now one of them to most sacred book them, something's supposed to happen to you. Say, but they don't pull the particular verse also. So people are always excited whether you swear or not. But I think it's just fun. Anyway.
That is different from the issue we are talking about. Because
of course,
if you take oath on the Bible or the Quran in a court or in the presence of that commission, and at the end of the day, it is found out that you actually gave false evidence or false statement, there is what is called perjury. Perjury is where somebody lie. When you lie on oath, it is perjury and it is punishable by law. So when you go lie on oath, when you don't take oath on the Quran or the Bible, that you lie, then find out in a lie, then you don't expose yourself for be punished by law. So that is of course settled.
Yeah, sure.
And the issue, of course, we have had a lot of people, especially from McKinney, raising concerns about the Commission of Inquiry. Now, it is an established fact already that Sierra Leoneans, 90% or 99% of Sierra Leoneans are in for the commission of inquiry. No jokes about it, no mixed, nothing like nobody can challenge, no right thinking Sierra Leonean. No well-meaning Sierra Leonean will be against the commission of inquiry. So that is a foregone conclusion. What is in contention here is whether these rules of evidence, these rules of practice and procedure that should be established by the Rules of Court Committee provided for in Section 150 of the 1991 Constitution Act No. 6 should govern the commissions of inquiry. And that is the contention in almost all of the commissions, all of the rooms, the 3 rooms. And that is what Justice Bilbel will be deciding tomorrow. But I have also established it, and I want to establish it before leaving, that the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice has got a key role to play in laying this thing to rest. If I don't lay this thing to rest long ago, even before going to the Commission of Inquiry launching and making that statement, the statement he made at the Commission of Inquiry launching was very appropriate for him to have done that in the Supreme Court. We expect these people who are our guarantors, who are custodians of the rules, of the laws, who have actually vested authority to actually live up to expectations. In the past dispensation, there was a contentious issue as to whether the president of Sierra Leone had the mandate, the right, to dismiss his vice president. That issue was sent to Supreme Court, and within marked days, Supreme Court took the decision, and today it is a judicial precedent. Albeit, not all men accept that decision. Not all men say it was just. But let us have a decision on the matter. That is how people will have confidence in our judicial system. That is how we will know that somebody can take a matter to court and it will be actually addressed within marked time.
Sure.
But for us to leave this thing up and giving the commissioners all of these challenges, I see them struggling to actually engage the lawyers on this matter. Sierra Leoneans are arguing on it. I believe it's disingenuous to us as Sierra Leoneans. And we expect the Supreme Court to actually live up to expectations.
Sure. Thomas More Conteh, thanks to you. And let me come on to William Saula.
Yeah, I think all of these problems we are facing now in Sierra Leone has to do with our constitution.
Yeah.
I will tell you for free. Our constitution has so much problem. When they quote Article A, Section B will say something in favor of you.
Yeah.
Section C will be in favor of me. So at the end of the day, there's going to be a tussle. Look at, for example, the Declaration of Assets, the Act of the ACC Act. The Act is saying when you are getting into the office, you declare your assets, and when you are exiting, within a year period, that is the time you will have your exit declaration. Within a year, you can imagine. After when you've gone off to from that office, maybe you've traveled to overseas, you will find another job in Europe. That is the time you will come back and have your exit declaration form. It's wrong. So what we are saying, in as much as we are not focusing on the Commission of Inquiry, this government must start to put necessary modalities in place to ensure that we have that of our constitutional review process must continue, and then we modify some of these laws.
But I think our documents, our laws are quite whole and also not much quite what should I say, effective.
It's not effective. How can someone thief maybe $1 billion and then you find that person 200,000-300,000?
Sure.
That individual will be right on the dock at the court and then pay the 200,000 and just get out. You understand? So something has to be done with our laws. Even in the Commission of Inquiry, why people are baffling, they are going up and down. Sometimes, the judges, from what I'm seeing, they are so fear in whatever they are doing. Sometimes when people argue, when the lawyers argue, they will say, okay, let's wait tomorrow and see how we all can meet together again and agree. Some of them are so fear. So all boils down to the issue about our constitution. So there is need for us to amend that of our constitution. It's really, really serious. It's causing a whole lot of problem. When you look at the issue about Samsumana, it was a problem. Now we are talking about constitution. We have still not, taken a proper footing with the Commission of Inquiry. People are drawing the process here and there because the issues, the information in the constitution is It's so complicated. Somebody saying this, the other saying that,
so
and
you
all
said
the rest
this
of it.
on this
You
rules
see?
of procedures governing the commissions of inquiry, I believe now people in just government campaign this.
Sure.
Because Section 150 is clear on it.
Sure.
That there is a body known as the Rules of Court Committee that should make rules governing the commissions of inquiry.
Oh, guys,
No, but Thomas, what
so
I'm
let us
saying,
do that.
I agree with what you are saying. What I'm saying here
Yeah,
is,
we don't have time
you are
because,
reading a particular, maybe
yes, I know
article A,
that.
B, and
No,
C.
that's-
Somebody else will C and D that has to do.
course,
It's
yes,
so that's the point I'm saying.
So that's the problem. So guys, thank you very much, Thomas Conteh.
I know this is the game of the lawyers. Definitely, they are going to make it this time round.
I know. All right, thank you for being part of the show, and we also want to say sorry because we've not been coming up with the show since the start of the week. We all know because of the Commission of Inquiry, and we also want to give opportunity to Sierra Leoneans to know what is happening in the Commission of Inquiry. Maybe tomorrow as well, because it's going to be something very serious tomorrow in Commission Room number 1. So between the state and the defense councils as well on the rules of evidence towards the Commission of Inquiry. So we'll bring that immediately that ends. Then I'm sure if time permits us, we'll come back and discuss that process of the Commission of Inquiry. But till then, have a blessed day. Always watch AYV Television on Channel 33 and on the radio on 101.6 FM. Do have a blessed day, and guess what? Tomorrow is February 14th and it's Valentine's Day, and I want to wish all our viewers and listeners happy Valentine in advance. And also tomorrow, it's the start of the 2019 Big Brother Housemate Saloon 2019. So officially it will kick off, and the 20 housemates will go to the house tomorrow as well. So bring you live coverage of that one as well. So till then, have a blessed day. Many thanks to the production and technical team. I've been David Wilson, and many thanks to my producer Marina Terry. Till then, have a blessed day and bye for now.